Hey everyone, I'm Rachel,
And I'm Jen, and welcome to Devilish Bookworms, the podcast.
where we read and review books and release episodes every Tuesday.
This week we have Quicksilver by Callie Hart.
Yay! Saeris Fane knows all too well how to survive with every card stacked against her. As a fighter and a thief, she has always done the best she could to provide for her brother. When Saeris steals the wrong thing, she's pulled into a world she thought was only a myth and a war longer and bloodier than she's ever seen. Now she has to prove to her captors that she can be useful as she tries to fight her way back home.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
This week's trigger warnings are graphic violence and graphic sexual content. Dun, dun, dun. Sorry.
That was all that was on the website, and then I was kind of thinking back and I couldn't think of anything else.
No, that sounds pretty accurate.
Murder. Straight murder.
Murder, she
Murder
wrote.
she wrote.
Such a good song.
Such a good song.
I think I might have to play
Okay.
that.
I mean, you can't listen to it and not dance.
I know.
Yeah.
Yep. It's definitely gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, Jen. So let's chat about this cover, which is a gentleman and butterflies, and it says Quicksilver across the front.
Wow, that's very observant of you. Sorry.
I mean,
Listen.
you know what's funny is I feel like sometimes we're like, look at this cover, and then we don't explain the cover, and we're just like, oh my gosh, the cover is just so stunning. I just can't handle it. I just want to pick it up and read it just based off the cover. It's look at look at those colors. Slay Queen. And then we just don't explain what the cover is.
You're not wrong. Sometimes we don't. But
So,
I
a
think,
little synopsis first.
yeah. I mean, you're fairly accurate on that depiction of the cover. A man, butterflies, and some
Fairly accurate.
yeah, okay. You're spot on. That's the British would say. Spot on.
Is that not a man? Is that not butterflies?
I mean, listen. Never mind. I'm not gonna say it. It is a man with some tattoos and some silver running down his eye. It okay, so literally, if I wouldn't have seen this cover, I wouldn't have thought of it looking that way based on the description in the book. I wouldn't think of it like as a tear track, you know?
Well, that's because it's not.
Well, that's what it looks like on the cover.
Well, yeah, but I think that's just like artistic license.
Yeah, no, I do really like the cover. It kind of is what drew me to the book, obviously, but at the same time, I kept hearing about this book, and like, I know it seemed like it was going to be a daunting book because it's over 600 pages, and I'm like, can we finish this in a week? Answer was
If we
yes, we can
listen to
finish,
it, we can.
and we can finish it in less than a week in that case.
Yeah. So this book was dedicated for those who live their nightmares so that others may have their dreams. Hmm.
Which is very sweet.
Yeah. And those are like the unsung heroes, right? Like the people who take on everything so that the other people don't have to. You see it a lot with some parents, or like with some older siblings or best friends. I don't know.
Yeah, back, especially that last part.
And there's a map and there's a pronunciation guide.
I love pronunciation guides. I also equally love maps, but God, when there's a pronunciation guide, I just get all thrilled.
Yeah, especially, I mean, these were some interesting names. So, you know,
Yeah.
as fantasy is kind of known for.
Which, that's why I love them so much because I want to pronounce these names right that you call your characters. So, I mean, for them to put in a guide for it, it makes my life so much better. That way I can actually pronounce the names that you call your characters, which I can love and call them properly, you know.
Yeah. I think I've said this before. I think I've made this comparison before. But the actress from Orange is the New Black, she went on a interview and she said when she was younger, she was trying to get her mom to call her a different name. And the actress is Uzo Aduba. And the quote is, if they can learn to say Tchaikovsky, Michelangelo, and Dostoevsky, they can learn to say Uzo Amaka. Any name is pronounceable if you try hard enough. So that's why pronunciation guides are important.
Yes. And you know what? I'd rather learn how to pronounce it correctly than to just try to say it on a whim.
Mm-hmm.
So, love those moments.
Love them.
And also, good for her for putting her foot down like that. That's rad.
I love it. If you ever watch the video, I can't remember what show she was on, but her face when she's mimicking her mom and when her mom says why, she's like, "Mom, can you just call me Zoe?" She goes, "Why?" Her face. She's like, that's not gonna happen."
I love that.
I know. Anyway, so this book, Quicksilver. I'm just gonna say it. I'm just gonna jump right in and say it. This book to me was everything that I thought I was getting from ACOTAR. Like everyone was like, "Oh, ACOTAR, it's so spicy. It's so like all of these things." They're like, "Oh God, you're reading ACOTAR? Oh my God!" And I'm like, when I read it, I was like, I mean, it's entertaining, I guess, but it wasn't what I was thinking. This Quicksilver is what I thought ACOTAR was. So I was very pleasantly surprised when we read this book.
Listen, to go off of that ACOTAR thing, I fucking hated ACOTAR.
I know you did.
I'm sorry to all those people that actually loved it. Like this was a personal me thing. I just could not get into it. I actually DNF'd that book because I just could not read anymore. But this book, this book was definitely a lot better than Avatar.
Well, and I don't bring that up to like bash the other book, but I'm just saying like this hit the mark.
Yes, and I 100% agree with you. It had Fae. It had the girl getting kidnapped from her world. It had the enemies to lovers type of trope. And then it also had the conflict that you need in a book to actually keep you gripped. Like there were certain things, and I think the main thing was the spice. In Akatar, oh, it's so spicy. There was two scenes,
There
I
are like
think.
3 sentences per scene.
Yeah, I was like, what is this? Like, what do you mean this is spicy? This is like, I think there's cartoons that are spicier than this. Fucking Ren and Stimpy was spicier than that. Like, the fuck?
Yo, Ren and Stimpy was spicier than this book.
Yeah, it was. But I mean, at least this book, you actually got the gratification of the spice scenes. Like, there was sustenance
Yeah,
and
you did.
yes. I was happy with those. I remember texting you when we were first reading Akatar, and I was like, "That was it. That was the sex scene. That was the spicy bits. Like, what? Like, so unsatisfied."
I remember when you texted me at first with this book, and you were like, what was it? It was the choking scene, or
Oh,
like
the
she
cheese.
yeah, she was eating cheese.
That's right. Swallow it.
Swallow it.
I lost myself there. I was like,
It was
oh,
hilarious.
I did not think that something that like trivial would be that sexy, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and it was. And also that little line
Oh,
just
good
set the
girl.
scene. It set the tone for the whole, the whole book. It was a really good book. I love the banter between the characters. So Saeris Fane is like this girl from the streets, and she like steals, and she, hangs out with the rough crowd because frankly, most of the people in the third are the rough crowd. But she's snarky and she's witty and she talks back. And then you have this she talks back to everyone, which I thought was fantastic. And then you have this guy who's kind of like this Fey dude who's like the outcast and whatever. And so he's obviously very snarky and snippy, and there was great banter between them. Well, there was
100%
great
agree.
banter anyway, but between them was really good.
I 100% agree because you could feel the animosity towards each other like throughout the beginning of the book, even into the middle of the book. There was still animosity, but the back and forth was gold, pure gold. Especially when his sassy attitude was just perfection. But he said to her, "Figured some extra protection was in order this morning, since you're now given to hurling yourself at me like some kind of rabid feline." Oh my God.
Okay, I will say this. He was a lot right out the gate.
Yeah.
Like there were some things that he said early on in the book, and I was like, is it not a little early to be saying something like that?
Hmm.
Like, I don't know. Like at first I was like taken aback by some of the things that he said. I was like, bruh, like learn her middle name first, you know? Does she have one? I don't know. Neither do you. Don't talk to her like that.
The fact that he didn't even want to call her by her real name at first. Yeah. He was definitely a little out of pocket.
Well, yeah. I mean, that was funny. It was just like some of the thing, like the very first thing that he said, like control yourself. I was like, ugh, you've known her for like 10 minutes, bro.
Well, I mean, I can't say I necessarily blame him for that because of the fact that he could smell what was going on, you know?
Okay, can we just talk about that for a second? Can we
How
talk,
inconvenient
bruh?
that would be.
Not inconvenient, disgusting, disgusting. It's the grossest part of any like supernatural book. Like, I love the fact
Smell
that
you.
what?
I can smell you.
Uh, uh. Like, listen, I give this book a 10 out of 10. I would read it 100,000 times, but like, gross. And also, I love the fact that she included everyone else in that too, because I think that's one thing that in other books that I've read where they include that bit where it's like only they can, right? And it's like, why can only you? If you can, then your best friend can, your mom can, everyone else
Mm,
can. Disgusting.
yeah.
So, like, so like why can't they just like sense the heartbeats or like the heat shift or something? Like, why is it gotta be the sense of smell?
I would be
Ugh,
so embarrassed, dude.
bruh. And gross. Gross.
uh, to change subjects real quick. So, I love the fact that she actually did something different with the whole having the Quicksilver actually affect him in the way that it did.
Mhm.
So, for all those that haven't read this yet, it's he went into a pool of Quicksilver and it screwed with his brain,
Which Quicksilver is, it's literally silver, like liquid silver.
but it transports you to different places, which is it's a whole thing.
Yeah. That's one of the things.
But most people die from going into this pool of Quicksilver without a certain medallion or pendant. And the fact that he was able to live after doing it, but he also got Quicksilver embedded in him and it's causing him to lose his mind. And I thought that was brilliant. It was a great way to give a conflict, like, or like a an obstacle that obviously is physical, that you can see it, but everybody around him can see how much it moves and how much it affects him. And if he doesn't wear his pendant, like it literally makes him lose his mind. And I thought it was brilliant. I also kind of love the fact that it kind of mimics ADHD in a sense because he constantly has voices in his head. There's constant chaos going on, and it's literally driving him crazy unless he has that constant. And most of us with ADHD, we have that constant background music or our sub thoughts and all the different, thoughts that are going on in our heads. And we have that one thing that kind of makes it slow us down, whether that be medication or whether it be just music in general or something else that, brings those voices and quiets them. And I thought that was really cool.
Or just raw dogging it and being out of your mind for a couple days.
Yeah, whichever works for you. But I mean, I just thought it was a really cool parallel.
Well, I don't want to say out of your mind. I shouldn't have said out of your mind. I should have said unbearable instead.
Well, I mean, sometimes it does make us go out of our mind. Depends on how loud the noises are.
Yeah. Anyway, I dug how the so if you don't know Phalor, which I'm pretty sure everyone listening to us does probably, they use loopholes and trickery to, and phrasing and all of these things to their advantage. Basically, they are just agents of chaos and, do whatever they want. But, if you make a deal with them, it's binding, but also they have loopholes in different ways that they can work things into their favor. And I love the way that it was incorporated into the story, and it wasn't just a one-off like, ooh, look, here's the trickery element. Like it's in there a couple of times, and it becomes part of like the everyday. I loved the butterflies. The story
Ooh,
of the butterflies. I don't want to spoil it, but like the story of the butterflies
yes.
protected them with their bodies.
Listen, you know what I loved that really didn't get too much attention?
Me, I never get enough attention.
Well, it actually, something, it did remind me of you. The fire
Yes.
sprites.
Oh, fair.
Yeah, the fire sprites are like very emotional and they love to overreact. I was like, hey, that kind of sounds familiar. I know someone like this.
Wow. That was almost a compliment until it wasn't.
I love their
You're
dramatics
the
of them.
worst.
Like, I know, but I love you. Okay, but there was a part that actually it really did remind me of you.
Other than the insufferably bratty FMC.
Oh,
the
listen.
petulant, the petulant
Ugh,
FMC.
we will get there. We will. No, but at one point, it was a conversation between Saeris Fane and Kingfisher, and they were talking about Ren. And he goes, we were born to different parents, but brothers in every other way that counts. I know him better than I know myself. And I'm like, oh, that's my Rachel and me. Like, that was a perfect way to describe it. We might have different parents, but listen, the sisterly bond that's between us is just fucking unreal.
Unreal.
It's amazing. So even though I pick on her, it's there. That's why I pick on her.
Is it out of love, Jen? It's out of
Yes.
love. Is that what it is?
It always is out of love. I'm all out of
I'm
love.
so lost without you. Ah.
Oh, oh
I
goodness.
had a point that I wanted to make, but I can't make it because I think it'll be a spoiler. So I'm just saying the coin,
Oh, yeah.
it.
Mm. Listen, that scene bothered me as well, but for a different reason. I know your reasoning, but
Mhm.
can we talk about Saeris Fane?
And how she's bratty like me. Yes.
I don't even remember the FMC's name for Matt Guitar because I really don't care. But
Farah.
okay. Um,
Sorry.
so I obviously like this FMC more than I liked her, but it wasn't far off. Like I really I wasn't a big fan of her. She was so fucking whiny. Like,
Of Saris?
yes.
Really?
Yes, like she drove me crazy. It's not fair. Life's not fair. And how could you do this to me? And it was like every 10 pages, and I'm like, girl, will you just please shut the fuck up and pull up your pants and just get on what you need to. I
Hmm.
had to say it. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna need you to show me examples because I didn't get that vibe.
So when she's with Kingfisher and he tells her that she can't leave the bedroom. What does she do?
Mm-hmm.
She sits there and pouts about it. And then when anybody else came in, she's upset and she doesn't freaking she like literally pisses and moans about it. Anytime that,
Yeah.
anytime that, he's got something to say, she's like, "Well, you put me in a bargain that's unfair." And it's like, you're the one that didn't pay attention of the wording. I just can't, man. Like,
That's okay, so that's fair. I see what you're saying now. Um, I am also bratty, so that might be why I didn't pick that up. But also, I don't know how well you would react if someone forced you to do something that you didn't want to do.
you
I'm
damn
not
well know
saying you're
how.
wrong. I am saying,
Well, so I think there's a difference in between being whiny about it and being vocal about it. And she was just more, in my opinion, on the whiny side versus the being vocal part and like actually trying to do something about it. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
I get what you're saying.
That's just where that line is for me personally. But at the same time, um she wasn't Danya. She wasn't at the level of her. But at the same time, like it was, I would say there's two characters in between her and Danya, in my opinion.
Hmm. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Okay.
All right, let's see. There was one part that I really, really, really dug, and it was the first part that I was just all in when she grabs his necklace and he tells her that he can hear her heart race when she's near him, and I thought I was gonna die.
Oh, in the forge.
The very first like
Uh-huh. Yeah.
moment, the very
Yeah.
first moment, I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah.
That right
Samesies.
there. That was the first. It was the first bit in a whole book that made me want to die.
Listen, I was waiting for you to get to that part, and then I was waiting for you to get to the cheese part, and then I couldn't wait for you to get to the next part. And like I was like sitting there at the edge of my seat and I'm like, bitch, listen faster. Like I need you to talk to me about this.
Those are the kind of scenes that just get me, man. Like
Mm.
not the overt, like, those subtle, like sneak them in there scenes. They just ah.
Uh-huh. Facts.
um, did you have a favorite character?
Um, I would say Ren is my favorite.
Aw.
Uh, because he's just he's he was the only one that was actually patient with her at first,
Mhm.
besides the sister. But at the same time, he was just such a gentle giant, and you could tell he was all around a good soul. And
Yeah,
I just loved him. And also Onyx because he's fucking adorable.
because of course.
What about you?
Carrion.
I knew you were gonna say that.
Carrion. I just can't. Like I liked the FMC. I loved Ren. I actually there weren't many characters that I didn't like in this book.
Okay.
Um the MMC, of course.
Yeah.
But Carrion just has my whole heart and soul.
Okay. I like at first I actually did not like Carrion. He
Sure.
drove me nuts, but then like the further I got, I was like, okay, I could deal with that.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
And I don't want to spoil it because of things, but like that's yeah. Anyway.
I can't say that you're wrong. Did you have a least favorite character though?
Madra.
Okay, I could see that.
I don't like her at all. I even like her less than never mind. All three of them. All three of them, but
Okay.
mostly her.
Yeah, I could see that.
If you're gonna be evil, so to me, like evil, outright evil, I can handle that. It's the soft evil. It's the quiet evil that just like
Yeah.
with your like Lilith from Supernatural, how she was a little girl and she was so sweet and she was like, "Come play with me, daddy," and then like murdering the cat because she's evil.
The
You know
worst.
what I mean? Like I can't handle that. I can't handle that. Don't smile
Understandable.
in my face as you stab me in the back. Mm-mm.
Well, in the very beginning, it says, never forget, monsters thrive best in the dark. So,
Oh, that was one. Okay, so one of my favorite quotes was when he says, "Fear the shadows, bitch. I'm made of them. One night soon, I'll climb out of one and slit your fucking throat."
oh, he was just such a badass.
The whole that whole quote is good, but especially the "Fear the shadows. I'm made of them." Oof.
Yeah. Did you have any other favorite quotes?
Oh, yes, I did.
Oh,
Mm,
I'm so excited.
there were a couple. I'm about to introduce you to all seven gods. When you meet them, don't forget to tell them I'm the one you worship.
Yes, I almost put that, but I had a feeling that you would.
um, I loved it. My heartbreak couldn't have me tonight, though. You know, embracing the good while you have it. Um, because I don't just throw my hands up and accept defeat when things get hard. But there were some of them that were really good and they were tiny, like when he says bad human or when
Yeah.
she says cat scratch, you know. And I
Mm.
will say that I'm going to try and remember to use God, sinners, martyrs, and ghosts from now on because that part was hilarious.
Okay.
What about you?
Well, um, I had three that I put down.
Three. I've got like 40.
No, I had more, but I my favorite three are there. Uh, but a mirror's sole purpose was to tell you the truth. It didn't differentiate between good and bad. A mirror had no desire to soothe your troubles or deceive you. It was glass and nothing more.
Mm,
I like that.
boom.
You remain the bright star in a sea of darkness here. Ugh, like,
Mm.
and there are two kinds of forever alchemists, one in heaven, the other is hell. It doesn't matter what I do. Make sure you choose your version of immortality wisely.
Yeah, this book was full of some bangers.
Yeah, it
10 out
really
of 10.
was.
So, Jen, on Quicksilver, what are your final thoughts?
Um, I honestly didn't mind this book. Um, I will say I think it was a little drawn out with especially the angsty parts. Like it was a little over the top. I mean, I not really over the top, but it was just like it kept going for a little bit longer than it really needed to. But when it got past it, it was like, all right. Um,
Is that why you said that you were curious to see if we had different opinions on the book?
yeah,
Because you know how much I love the angst.
yeah. And
Okay.
I don't know why, but I was here for it, but I just felt like I could have used a little less of it. But
Okay.
at the same time, like the book was really good. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm digging everything that happened in this book.
Yeah. No, I mean, different strokes, man.
Yep.
On that note, I was a big fan of the angst. No, I dug it a lot. I will probably be listening to it again probably soon.
I can understand that, especially with the voice of whomever did Kingfisher.
So here's the thing with that. At first I was like, I mean, I guess. And then like halfway through the book, I was on board.
Yeah, like it took me a minute, but I was like, ooh.
And yeah, and I don't know if that was something that he did or if it was just like getting used to, I don't know what it was, but about halfway through I was like, yep, okay, here we go.
Uh-huh.
So anywho, um, Quicksilver was written by USA Today best-selling author Callie Hart. You can find Hart's other dark romances as well as handles for her socials and the sign-up form for her newsletter on her website, calliehart.com. That's CALLIEHART.com. And Jen, tell everyone what we are reading next.
Next, we are reading Grove Hollow Metamorphosis by Shelby Nicole McFadden.
Ooh, ooh.
I'm so excited for you for this one.
I don't know why I really liked it so much.
You've already finished it?
No, I mean, like, I like the
Oh,
idea of it. Oh my
oh,
God, I
well,
just break your brain.
I was like, holy shit, dude. Like, I knew you were like excited about it, but fuck.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know why, like, out of all the options, I was like, wanted this one, but here we go.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Devilish Bookworms.
If you want to chat with us, be sure to check us out on Threads, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok.
You can also find our podcast on YouTube and wherever else you listen to podcasts.
We will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.